Well, you finally did it. You said no, you set a boundary, and you chose yourself. You were finally being true to yourself. So why do you feel like a terrible person? Why does your chest feel tight? Why are you overthinking the conversation, wondering if you were selfish, rude, overreacting? If you've ever walked away from a boundary feeling shame, guilt, you're not alone, but you're not wrong. Welcome to the Core Happiness Podcast. I'm your host, Casey Banks, a mindset and positive psychology coach. On this podcast, we discuss all things related to creating happiness from within. So let's do it. Welcome back. Today, we are talking about emotional backlash. What comes after you set a boundary? Because holding your boundary is often harder than just setting one. And we're going to talk about why that happens, what it really means, and how to walk through it with clarity, compassion, and trust. Okay? Let me take you to a moment that I haven't really talked about before. It was a very simple situation. Someone asked for something, and I felt an immediate inner no. My gut was like, absolutely not. This is not at all suited, does not align with me. And the old me would have said yes automatically. But this time, I paused. I listened to what they were asking, but most importantly, I listened to myself. I listened to my gut. I listened to what my body was saying. And it was saying no. So I said no. Politely, clearly, calmly. And I was so proud for standing up for myself, for choosing myself, choosing what I needed most in that moment. But afterward, I spiraled. I started thinking, was I too much? Did I hurt them? Was that selfish? Was I wrong? Should I have just gone through with it? Would that have been easier? Do they hate me? And there was a time where I felt worse and I just would have said yes and abandoned myself again. But then I really thought about that moment. And what that moment taught me was something very vital, which is that the hardest part of setting a boundary isn't the boundary itself. It's the emotional detox afterwards. And the guilt that I felt, it was proof that I had done something that was unusual for me, outside of my old patterns, okay? It wasn't proof that I had done something wrong. It just meant that I'm finally pushing beyond those patterns that taught me to equate self-abandonment with love and acceptance. So let's name what happens after we set a boundary. And you might second guess yourself for hours or days. You might replay the conversation and try to reword it in your head. Some people feel like physically sick or anxious, like I did something wrong, something's broken, I need to fix it. And hear me when I say, this is your nervous system reacting to unfamiliar behavior. Because you were raised in a system where pleasing others kept you safe, where being nice was the price of belonging, where saying no caused conflict or tension. And when you're raised that way, your body then might interpret any type of self-honoring behavior as a threat. But that doesn't mean that the boundary was wrong. It means that you're healing something much deeper. So here's a couple reframes that I hope you take away from this episode. One is that guilt is not a sign of a wrong boundary. Guilt is a sign of emotional rewiring. Your brain associates guilt with wrongdoing. And when you're in a place of healing from codependency or chronic people-pleasing or just being conditioned to think a certain way, then guilt is going to be unfamiliar. If thinking a certain way, then anytime you go against it, guilt is going to feel like this is unfamiliar. This isn't right. Am I doing the right thing? But you're not doing anything wrong. You're doing something new. Boundaries can often trigger grief. So you might be grieving the version of you who never said no, who was always the people pleaser, who always said yes, who always tried to keep things calm, never wanted to ruffle feathers. You might be grieving the fantasy that people would always understand or agree. And so when you push back and you have to set a boundary and say, this isn't good for me, it might be hard to hear people be like, what do you mean? I don't understand. And sometimes you might grieve the illusion of that harmony came from hiding your truth. Like the more I play small, the more I stay quiet, the more I don't speak up, the more I don't affirm myself, stand up for myself, then all is well. All is harmony. All is good. But grief isn't a reason to go back to the old conditioning. It's a reason to move forward, but with tenderness. Boundaries are not just saying no. Boundaries are self-trust in action. Every time you honor your inner yes or no, you are strengthening your own self-trust. And that self-trust is the foundation for peace, confidence, clarity. You don't need to feel strong to be in alignment. You just need to choose to honor yourself, even when it feels uncomfortable. So, if this is you, I invite you to ask yourself these 3 questions and just reflect the next time that you set a boundary or you're feeling guilt over a boundary that you've already set. The first thing to ask yourself is, what part of me feels afraid of being misunderstood or disliked? The second question is, what truth did I honor by setting this boundary? What part of yourself did you listen to? What part of yourself did you honor by setting the boundary? And then lastly, ask yourself, if I fully trusted that I was safe, what would I say or do next? Safe, not judged, not having to fear any type of backlash. If you could think beyond the guilt, you're just safe. What would you say or do next? And then let your answers come. Don't overthink it, but allow these questions to help guide you back to yourself. And if you're ready to go deeper into this kind of emotional reclamation, I like to call it reclamation because we're reclaiming our emotional foundation, our emotional stability, not just boundary setting, but like nervous system healing and identity clarity, sustainable self-trust. If you're ready for all of that, then I personally want to invite you to the Core Return Reset. It's just a 5 days, but it walks you through coming home to your core self. It's potent. It's designed to meet you where you are, and you don't need to have everything figured out on your own. So if you would like to go deeper into this, then please check out the link in the show notes in the video description and check out the Core Return. But most of all, please remember, you are not being selfish for honoring your boundaries, for honoring any limits that you have, for honoring what you need. You're not wrong for choosing your truth, and you're not broken or lost, or there's nothing wrong with you for feeling guilt. It's part of the process. You are becoming, and becoming always comes with just a little bit of discomfort. So until the next time, please keep honoring yourself and setting those boundaries.